So this is how you could graph inflationary gap in macroeconomics. So usually these graphs will consist of a price level on the y-axis and GDP or real GDP on the x-axis. And basically you just want to start with the short-run aggregate supply curve, which runs just like the supply curve on a normal graph, and also the aggregate demand curve, which also runs like the aggregate demand curve on a normal graph. And then what you want to do is you can represent it in two different ways. You can either shift the short-run aggregate supply curve to the right or shift the aggregate demands curve to the right. In this scenario, I'm going to shift the short-run aggregate supply, or not, the aggregate demand curve to the right. I think this one's more understandable. So when I shift the aggregate demand curve to the right, it's represented like this. Now there is one thing I'm missing, and it's a label. So we do need to draw the long-run aggregate supply curve, which is a straight line. It won't move in this case. And we also need to represent it at its price. And we need to draw 2 points here. We'll label this point A and this point B. And at point A, this would be our long-run aggregate supply curve. At point B, it shifts to Y1. We'll also show our price levels to show the changes in price level. So when you shift aggregate demand to the right, this just causes what we call an inflationary gap. It's where the original LRAS GDP price is increased. So if we look here, this would be an inflationary gap. And if we wanted to correct the inflationary gap, which right now we have already proven inflationary gap, and you could do the same thing by shifting SRAS to the right. But now that we've proven it, if we want to adjust it to go back to equilibrium, what we would do is we would shift the short-run aggregate supply curve to this point where aggregate demand intersects long-run aggregate supply. And this would be SRAS 2, we'd shift this, and we make a second price level. And we're back at YP, so we have to change that, and this would represent a new long-run equilibrium.